Welcome to the Cry of Fear Pacifist challenge, where I try to beat the game by killing as few enemies as possible. This includes all enemy types as well as bosses. Enemy suicides and friendly fire also count, but they'll be scored separately. Enemy despawns do not count as kills, but you will see me do it a few times in the run. I'll be on medium difficulty and I won't be using any speedrun skips, such as using doors through walls or getting out of bounds. Enemy kills will be put into these two categories. Explicit, which is direct enemy kills dealt by the player, and implicit, which is enemy deaths not caused by the player. I'll also be counting the number of syringes used throughout the run because it might be interesting. Cutting to the first enemy encounter, these guys are pretty easy to get past. I'll make sure to pick up that syringe on the way past though because I'm going to need it later on. This first guy in the sewer is pretty easy to get past. Come here, mate. You just got to make sure you can get around him. The cramped spaces and janky hitboxes don't really help. The second guy here though can use this pipe to really block your path. On my second attempt he didn't actually move so I could get past him. Now you're going to see me punching a lot of the enemies in the run because it's really useful to stagger them because then you can easily get past them without them hitting you. I'm going to be taking a lot of damage in the run, so if I can minimise that, it'll be really useful. These two slowers here, they actually lined up nicely so I can get past them. Cutting straight to the first room of the apartments, this first child is really easy to dodge, you can just run straight past him. Enemies don't follow you across the wooden beams. This next child in the hallway is pretty easy to dodge as well, but he decided to get in my way instead. You might see me jumping around a lot when I'm close to enemies. That's because of something I call the jumping tactic, which is basically a way to avoid enemy attacks and abuse pathfinding for the enemies. You're going to see it demonstrated right after I leave this room here with the baby enemy that spawns to the right. I can just jump around him, that prevents him from using his head spike attack, which would count as a kill. You're going to see that going through doors don't change the map, don't reset the enemy positions either, so this gets quite annoying when I have to go back to previous areas. In this next room there's a slower that comes out from underneath the bed. Normally you can't get past him without killing him, but using the jumping tactic I can actually make him come a little bit closer so I can fit round him. I have to use the first syringe here because of my low health. I can activate the cutscene to get the Glock with these children still in the room. Luckily this first one clips into the desk so I can get around him easy enough. There's two babies here that I can just about dodge if I run up the stairway fast enough.
Oh, fuck.
That's cool, but I realised I had to go downstairs anyway. From this point I can just jump over them normally. With that done, I can take the elevator up to the 4th floor. This next section with the faster introduction is easy, I can just walk around it. I used the jumping tactic here to avoid this faster on the balcony. I can dodge these two fasters down here as well pretty easily. I tried to get past this faster here but it didn't work. In this situation I can just lure them back into the room and run around them. Continuing on, I head down to the basement. The best way to deal with the drowned here is to approach them quickly so they don't have a chance to do their suicide attack. This will cause the baby to jump out and then you just back away. If I don't do this, they might have a chance to do the suicide attack on me, in which I actually get locked in place, so that's not a great idea. Now I thought this faster would be a problem while I was watching the tape, but it turns out I don't actually take any damage while I'm viewing the TV, so it's fine.
4749.
When I finish watching the tape, I do have to move quickly though, otherwise I will take quite a lot of damage here. This causes me to use another syringe. After this, I can run and put the code in the elevator and head down to the first boss fight. Unfortunately, this is the first enemy I have to kill in order to progress, putting our kill counter at 1. In this section, these enemies are fine as I can jump straight over them. Due to the ambush of 5 or 6 enemies here, I have to put the helpline phone number in before I proceed. With the code, I can stand on top of the keypad here to avoid being hit and enter it. This section full of sumos is very easy as well, as I know exactly where they spawn and I can easily dodge past them. Even these smaller tunnels are fairly easy as well, as there's still space to pass by. For some reason the game decides to put an enemy in this small ass room, so I'll have to use another syringe. After unlocking the door, I can head into the tunnel. You can get past the crawlers by lowering them towards one side of the tunnel and then just going the other way. Here I can grab the lighter and head back into the tunnel. After almost getting sandwiched, I had to do a few circles to round the enemies up and escape safely. With no way to skip past the mace fight, this puts our kill counter up to 2. At this point I pick up another syringe, get the saw, head back and dodge these 2 fasters without them posing much of a threat. It's smart to use the syringe before this next section as you take a lot of damage, but I get past it. Moving on, I accidentally despawned the slower here. And here I do a few circles around the street so I can punch the board without killing the enemies. For the Saw Runner, I decided to despawn him. I do this by going back through the door, getting jump scared by a sumo, and then heading back for the M16, even though I never use it. Using the jump in tactic once again, I avoid both of these babies' attacks and head into the apartments. In the lower apartments, I ignore this faster and jump over the other baby. Then finally, I ignore all these sumos and jump over the final baby.
Woo!
In Gustav Doll Park, I solve all the puzzles, get the key and the rifle, ignore this faster and head back. You can crouch underneath the flag airs to avoid their attacks. Something interesting about the phone call section, if you're already holding the phone when it rings, it'll automatically answer it and you'll be locked in place.
Shit.
Due to this single slower, it's a bad idea. This is why I enter the area with my knife out. Luckily, there's an invulnerable spot between these cars where I can answer the phone calls safely.
Oh, hello.
There's so many fasters in this area that it's almost guaranteed that some of them will die from friendly fire. Accepting this, I run a few circles around this bench just to speed up the process a bit. Unfortunately, this does rack up a few numbers on our implicit counter. With only one enemy left, I can lose him around this container. I can now continue the puzzle in peace. The enemies on the rooftop can easily be dodged just by jumping over them, or running straight past them. In this case, the carcass fight can be skipped, so I'm going to do that to save me a kill. I now head back to TL Trading and realise I've forgotten the keycard.
Oh my fucking...
Now I've got the keycard, it's time to face Saxon Avenue.
Oh.
Since there's no real feasible way around the suiciders, I have to lure them back into the alleyway and wait for them to shoot themselves. Unfortunately, this does add a lot to our implicit counter, but there's no other way around it.
Oh. Nice.
on then. With Saxon Avenue cleared, that's the end of part 1, with 2 explicit kills, 12 implicit kills, and 7 syringes. Thanks a lot for watching.